Hey guys, so have you ever just been watching Lord of the Rings and just wondering, hey, I wonder what was happening with Gollum between the time of the end of Bilbo's birthday and the time, right before they got into the mines of Moria? You ever find yourself thinking about that? Well, congratulations. They're making a movie just for you. The new Lord of the Rings screenwriter Philippa Boyens shares new details about the hunt for Gollum. So, here's the timeline. We got so Gandalf visits the Frodo, visits the Frodo, visits the Shire. Um, and so that's 3001. 3001 for inherits the ring from Bilbo. And then we get to 3019, first enters Moria. So you have quite a few, almost, 2 decades almost, before. So you have like 20 years worth of Gollum doing stuff, but it's like he kind of served his purpose. He was meant to kind of be mysterious, you know, when they get into the to the mines and Frodo's like, I think something's following us, and Gandalf's just like, yeah, it's Gollum. He's been following us for a few days now, you know. And all you see, like in the movie, all you see is him just like reaching up, and then just the glimmer of his eyes, and as he just kind of like goes back down, he's meant to be mysterious at first. Um, but he played his purpose and his role in the trilogy. We saw him in the Hobbit trilogy, obviously. I mean, it's where the ring, Bilbo gets the ring from Gollum in his cave. Um, but I don't think anyone really cared too much about the stuff in between. I think they have a game of him like escaping Orthanc and stuff like that, so that's covered. But anyway, the Lord of the Rings screenwriter Philippa Boyens shared more details about the upcoming The Hunt for Gollum film, which also provides clarity as to what she and Warner Brothers are working on, regarding film adaptations of J.R.R. Tolkien's work. In an interview with Empire, Boyens shares that she had previously announced the Hunt for Gollum film, and that Andy Serkis is directing it, the guy who's been playing Gollum. He's been doing the motion capture for him. He's been doing the voice for him. So, um, his directing is a single film and not the first of two. However, she did share that a second film is not in the works. A second film was in the works as well. Just speaking specifically to the Hunt for Gollum, Boyan stated, "I can tell you definitely it is in two films. That it was a genuine misunderstanding that happened because we've begun to work conceptually on two different live action films. The first one being the Hunt for Gollum, the other one still to be confirmed." Okay, so whatever the Hunt of Gollum is, it's not going to be like multiple films. I mean, I don't know why it would be. I mean, no reason to have it as a multi movie, like a trilogy or anything. That'd be stupid. So, you know, Boyens then shared plot details for the Hunt for Gollum. It's quite an intense story, which falls after the birthday of Bilbo and before the mines of Moria. Next, she revealed the film will be told through Gollum's perspective. It's a specific chunk of incredible untold story told through the perspective of this incredible creature. I don't think anyone really cared though. Again, did you find yourself wondering, oh, what was he doing between the? No, you know, not every character needs their own standalone movie. Now, if you were to give a standalone movie to anyone, of the Fellowship or whatever, I mean, Gandalf would probably be a great start. Considering he's not actually human, and it'd be a good chance to show the creation, Eru Iluvatar, the creation, the Valar, and all of them, and eventually, actually seeing how Gandalf actually came to Arda instead of whatever Rings of Power is trying to say. Seeing him arrive by boat, actually seeing it, but being able to see like the creation story. and maybe that's kind of how the movie takes off. That'd be really really cool to see. Luvatar and kind of the creation of everything, and we after a few minutes we see the creation of Gandalf, or Olorin, as he's actually called, and kind of having the movie kind of take it from there. But yeah, Gollum is not one of those, not really one of those people that I'm dying to see a movie of. Anyway, Boyens' comments come in the wake of Warner Brothers officially announcing the two films in a write-up at Deadline. Warner Brothers film head Mike DeLuca and Pat Abdy stated, for over 2 decades, moviegoers have embraced the Lord of the Rings film trilogy because of its undeniable devotion. Peter, Fran, and Philippa have shown towards protecting the legacy of Tolkien's works, even though people are like, oh, well, Tolkien wouldn't like it. And yeah, Tolkien was very specific, and he didn't really like, he wouldn't really like major changes happening. He likes his stories the way they are, and any kind of major changing, but, you know, the changes they made in the movies weren't that breaking until you get to like The Hobbit, and then you have like freaking Legolas and them popping up when they weren't supposed to be. But I mean, it's not nearly as unfaithful than Rings of Power is. I mean, Rings of Power is just a spit in the face to Tolkien's work. So yeah, he might have hated them both, but he would have hated Rings of Power a lot more before anyone starts saying he would have hated Lord of the Rings too. Yeah, yeah. Well, he would have hated Rings of Power a lot more because that just craps all over the lore, his characters, everything. So he may have hated them both, but he would have hated Rings of Power a lot more. Um, Tolkien's work to ensure audiences would experience the incredible world he created in a way that honors his literary vision. The duo added, we are honored to they agreed to be our partners on these two new films, with Andy coming aboard to direct Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum," which again I don't really think anyone really cared for, but it has Lord of the Rings attached to it, so it's probably. I mean, the Hobbit movies weren't that great, but yet still made a lot of money, so whatever. Um, We continue an important commitment to excellence, and that is a true hallmark of how we all want to venture ahead and further contribute to the Lord of the Rings cinematic history. Following this, Ian McKellen appeared on this morning in September. Do you remember? And said, "We all know this is well. All I know is that they called me up and said that these films were going to happen." Mainly be about Gollum. Andy Serkis, who played Gollum, is going to direct, and there will be a script arriving sometime in the new year. Um, that's this year, and then I'll judge whether I want to go back. I mean, they would kind of have to get everyone back because if it's taking place between the end of Bilbo's birthday and right as they arrive at Moria, I mean, they'd have to be probably moments where he's around them or catching up to them or something, or at least, the Mines of Moria part. Um, when they're sitting there and Gandalf's trying to remember which way to go, that's when we see, again, Gollum climbing and kind of staring at him after we hear Gandalf acknowledge that he knows that Gollum's been following them. So yeah, it would kind of make sense, and I hope it probably won't be a huge role. I mean, because if it's focused on Gollum, I don't think we're going to be seeing a whole lot of the Fellowship. I mean, it's called The Hunt for Gollum, so Gollum is the main here, so he would just probably have to sit there and look pretty. No intense fighting, or I mean that's all someone else doing that anyway, but when asked if there was going to be more than one film, McKellen shared, I'm told it's two films. I probably shouldn't be saying, but I haven't read the script and I don't know when it is, and I don't know where it's filmed because these days I could probably film it all in London, but I'd rather not. I'd rather go back to New Zealand." Boyens addressed McKellen's comments. Kelly Empire. We're playing around with a number of ideas, but most of those ideas do include Gandalf. So Gandalf would potentially return for 2 live-action films, she concluded. Like, I mean, there's really not a whole lot about what Gollum was up to, and I mean, it says the hunt for Gollum, so not Gollum hunting them, it's hunting something, hunting him. So, I don't know. Again, I don't think it's a movie that people were really asking for. And people, but they know people are gonna go see it because it's got Lord of the Rings slapped on it. Look at Rings of Power. That show spits on his legacy, and yet people keep watching it. Not a lot of people, but people still keep watching it. So you slap Lord of the Rings on the name, and people are like, oh my god, yes, more Lord of the Rings." I mean, am I saying it's gonna be bad? No. I mean, Andy Serkis knows Gollum inside and out. He's been playing it for the last 20 freaking years. But the fact is, the it's a movie that just didn't need to be made. Again, not every character needs a kind of like a fill in of the gap story or movie or whatever. Sometimes you can just leave it up in the air and let the imagination take its hold in your mind and, think of, oh, what was Gollum up to? Well, I've got a few scenarios. Showing us just takes the fun out of it. So. But that's just me. That's just me. So, Ian McKellen. But, yeah. How Amazon and people making Rings of Power look right now. As soon as they hear about this new movie, they're like, oh no. Oh no, this movie's going to steal all the Lord of the Rings fans back. And then they're going to look at our crappy product and realize it's not even worth it anymore. But anyway, let me know what you think. But that's going to be it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.